Ladies and gentlemen, they say the universe listens, but it does more than just listen. It reflects. It's like a mirror you did not even know you were standing in front of. What you send out, it sends right back. And that's the essence of the law of attraction. The universe does not respond to desperation. It responds to belief. And that's the hardest lesson many people learn too late. You can write your goals in the fanciest notebook, dream of a better life every night, and wish upon every star in the sky, but if deep inside you don't believe you deserve it, you won't receive it. Because the law of attraction is not about the words you speak, it's about the vibration behind those words. Let's say you want love. You say it out loud, I want someone to love me. But inside, if you believe you are unlovable or broken, your energy sends out that signal instead. You'll keep attracting people who treat you the way you secretly treat yourself. The ones who ignore you, abandon you, or use you. Because somewhere inside, you believed you were only worth that. It's like trying to tune into a radio station. If you're on 98.6 FM, you cannot hear what's playing on 101.2 FM. Your belief is your frequency. If your frequency is lack, you attract more lack. If it's fear, you attract more reasons to be afraid. But if your belief is strength, you'll find opportunities to grow. If your belief is abundance, you'll start noticing blessings you never even counted before. You can't fake energy. You can't pretend to believe. The universe knows what's underneath. It hears the silent thoughts, the ones you don't say out loud. That's why healing matters. That's why self-worth is step one. Because until you fix the belief at the root, the fruit won't grow. Start small. Believe that good things can happen, that miracles are not limited to other people, that success isn't a lottery, it's alignment. When you begin to feel worthy of joy, joy starts walking your way. When you feel worthy of peace, peace begins to surround you. It might not come overnight, but it starts showing up. And here's the beautiful truth. Belief is a muscle. You don't have to be born with it. You grow it. You water it with daily affirmations, with new habits, with the company you keep. You strengthen it by keeping your word to yourself, by setting small goals and meeting them. Each time you honor yourself, your belief in yourself expands. You attract what you believe. That's why so many people stay stuck. They're chasing dreams while believing they're not enough. It's like running with weights on your legs. Your mind says go, but your soul whispers, I can't. And that inner conflict keeps pulling you back. But when you shift your belief, the game changes. Suddenly you speak differently. You walk differently. You don't chase, you align. You don't beg, you expect. And that's not arrogance, it's clarity. A clear mind and an open heart send the strongest signal. So stop repeating stories that hurt you. Stop shrinking your belief to fit your pain. Expand your belief to fit your purpose. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to believe about yourself. Your internal dialogue is the most powerful voice in your life, and the ironic part is no one else can hear it but you. It is that constant whisper echoing behind your smile, shaping every decision you make, every step you take, and every risk you avoid. When people talk about success, they usually talk about hard work, talent, or even luck. But few talk about that silent, relentless conversation happening in your own head. That's the real game changer, because what you keep telling yourself becomes your truth. Whether it's a lie or not, it doesn't matter. If you repeat it enough, it becomes your reality. Think about how you speak to yourself when no one's watching. Do you uplift yourself or do you tear yourself down? Do you say things like, I always mess up, nothing ever works out for me, or I'm just not good enough? Those phrases may feel harmless in the moment, just passing thoughts, but they're not. They're seeds. And the more you water them with repetition, the more they grow into beliefs. And those beliefs shape your actions. When you believe you're incapable, you stop trying. When you believe you're unworthy, you stop receiving. You shut the door before life even has a chance to knock. This internal dialogue begins early. Sometimes it comes from our environment. What teachers said, what parents expected, what society mirrored back at us. We absorb it all like a sponge and never question if it was ever true. Over time, we internalize those voices and start echoing them to ourselves. A teacher who once said you're not smart enough becomes your own voice during an exam. A parent who doubted your dream becomes the voice of fear every time you try something new. And slowly you start living a life that isn't even yours. It's just a reflection of those borrowed voices. But here's the thing, if dialogue can be learned, it can also be unlearned. You can rewrite the script, you can start catching the thoughts that are not serving you. It begins with awareness, noticing when you're putting yourself down, catching the moment you say I can't and asking why not, challenging your own mind, because if you don't question your thoughts, they become the prison walls around your potential. Changing your internal dialogue doesn't mean you suddenly lie to yourself or pretend everything's perfect. It means choosing a better story, one that is rooted in truth and possibility. When you fail, instead of saying I'm a failure, say this didn't work, but I'm still learning. When you feel fear, instead of saying I'm too scared, say this is unfamiliar, but I can try anyway. The words you use shape your perspective, and your perspective shapes your life. Language is not just a tool for communication, it's a tool for transformation. The words in your head become the soundtrack of your journey. If that soundtrack is full of doubt, regret, fear, and guilt, your steps become heavy. But if your soundtrack is one of growth, forgiveness, curiosity, and hope, then even when the road is hard, your feet still move. Start paying attention to your inner voice, the way you pay attention to your closest friend. If someone talked to your best friend the way you talk to yourself, would you let it slide? Would you allow that kind of negativity? Of course not. So why allow it inside your own head? Why tolerate self-talk that breaks you down? Every word you whisper to yourself is either building you or breaking you. It is creating a foundation or digging a hole. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about speaking to yourself in a way that builds resilience, not ruins it. Because once your internal dialogue becomes supportive, everything else starts shifting with it. Alignment is not just about what you dream, it is about how you live. People often set big goals, write down visions, speak affirmations, and hope for magic, but they forget the most important part, daily action. You cannot expect to manifest a life of peace if your habits are rooted in chaos. You cannot attract success if your routine reflects inconsistency. You cannot call in abundance while living in scarcity, not just financially but mentally and emotionally. Alignment means your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all moving in the same direction. The reason so many people feel stuck is not because they lack potential. It is because they live in conflict. They speak of what they want, but live as if they don't believe it is possible. They dream of change, but their day-to-day behavior remains the same. That disconnect creates confusion, not just internally, but energetically. When the universe sees mixed signals, it does not know what to send back. Attraction begins with clarity, and elan sustains it. You have to become the kind of person who matches the life you are asking for. This is why small habits matter. It is not just the big moves or dramatic shifts that shape your path. It is the quiet consistency of showing up, waking up on time, choosing kindness, practicing discipline, investing in your growth, staying focused when it is easier to scroll. These are all acts of alignment. They send a clear message. I am ready. I am serious. I am not just talking about it. I am walking it. And that message carries power far beyond what you can see in the moment. There will always be a gap between where you are and where you want to be. But that gap is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to develop you. Every aligned action you take builds a bridge between your current self and your future self. And that bridge is made of intention. When you do things with purpose, even the smallest acts become sacred. Making your bed becomes a statement of order. Choosing gratitude becomes a declaration of faith. Saying no to distractions is an act of protection for your vision. Living in alignment also means being honest with yourself. You cannot lie your way into the life you want. If something feels off, pay attention. If your body is exhausted, listen. If your spirit is restless, pause. Sometimes alignment requires rest. Sometimes it requires change. Sometimes it requires letting go of what no longer fits who you are becoming. And that can be painful, but it is part of the process. Growth is not always about adding. It is often about releasing. Boundaries are also a form of alignment. When you say yes to things that drain you, you are saying no to the things that feed you. When you allow toxic relationships, you block space for healthy ones. When you compromise your values to please others, you step out of sync with your own truth. Alignment asks you to be loyal to your future, even when it makes your present uncomfortable. It is not about perfection. It is about integrity. It is about making choices that reflect who you truly are and who you are striving to be. The beautiful thing is, alignment does not need to be loud. It does not need applause or validation. It is a quiet inner knowing, a calm confidence that you are on the right path, even when results have not yet shown up. It is a state of being where your inner world supports your outer journey. And when your actions reflect your intentions, and your energy reflects your beliefs, you move through life with a power that cannot be faked, and a grace that cannot be shaken. Doubt is the silent thief of potential. It creeps in quietly, in the middle of progress, in the heart of momentum. One moment you are full of inspiration, ready to take on the world, and the next a voice inside you whispers, "But what if you're not enough?" That tiny thought spirals quickly. It begins to question your ideas, your plans, your dreams, and soon your vision starts to feel like a fantasy. You begin to slow down, procrastinate, play it safe, or even quit. Not because you were incapable, but because doubt talked you out of trying. The law of attraction responds to energy, and doubt is one of the most conflicting signals you can send. When you ask the universe for something but vibrate with hesitation, it receives a mixed message. You say you want growth, but you act like you're afraid of it. You say you want love, but your heart is guarded by fear of heartbreak. You say you want opportunity, but you stay hidden. Doubt creates static in your frequency. It keeps you from tuning fully into what you desire. And as long as that doubt lingers, manifestation struggles to take root. Letting go of doubt does not mean becoming blindly confident. It means shifting from fear to trust. Trust in your process. Trust in your timing. Trust in the fact that you are being prepared for what you're asking for. Every delay is not a denial. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is alignment. Doubt makes you see silence as rejection, but trust makes you see it as preparation. That shift in mindset is what keeps your energy clear, focused, and strong. Most of our doubt comes from old wounds, failures that bruised us, criticism that stuck, rejection that lingered. Those experiences taught us to shrink ourselves, to second-guess our instincts, to play small so we wouldn't have to feel the sting again. But when you carry that doubt into your future, you give the past more power than it deserves. You start living in fear of a story that may never repeat. And the irony is, the more you expect something to go wrong, the more likely you are to act in ways that bring that outcome closer. Letting go of doubt is an everyday discipline. It is catching the thought that says this might not work and responding with, but what if it does? It is noticing when you start to hesitate and asking yourself, am I playing to win or just trying not to lose? It is surrounding yourself with people who remind you of your strength, not your limitations. Doubt shrinks in environments of belief. When you hear others speak with courage, you begin to feel a little braver too. Another way to release doubt is to shift your focus from outcome to effort. Instead of constantly asking, will this work? Start asking, what can I give to this moment? When your energy goes into showing up fully, rather than obsessing over the result, you stop feeding fear. You step into the now, where power lives. Because the future is unknown, and the past is unchangeable. But this moment is yours to shape. And when you pour belief into this moment, the next one shows up a little brighter. You also don't need all the answers before you begin. Doubt thrives when you feel like everything must be perfect before taking a step. But clarity often comes from motion, not stillness. Action reduces fear. Every small step builds trust, and every win, no matter how minor, weakens doubt's grip. Confidence is not a switch. It is a habit built by showing up again and again, especially on the days when you don't feel ready. Those are the days that count the most, because they train your brain to move despite the uncertainty. Energy has a language of its own, a frequency that speaks louder than anything you say out loud. You can walk into a room and feel it without a single word being exchanged. Some people carry heaviness, others carry light. Some bring tension, others bring calm. And most of the time, they are completely unaware of what they're radiating. But the truth is, your energy is your signature. It's what you carry with you into every interaction, every relationship, every opportunity. You don't have to announce who you are. Your energy already does that for you. That is why the law of attraction responds more to your energy than your words. You can say all the affirmations in the world, but if deep down you're full of fear, resentment, or bitterness, that's the signal that gets transmitted. And what you send out, you attract. You might be asking for peace, but carrying chaos. You might be wishing for love while holding on to past wounds. You might be trying to build success while vibrating with self-doubt. The universe listens to your energy, not your script. It doesn't respond to the mask. It responds to the core. People think attraction is about doing more, saying the right things, acting a certain way, learning all the strategies. But sometimes the most powerful shift is simply tuning your frequency. Think of your energy like a radio station. If you're on the station of fear, you can't hear what's playing on the station of joy. If you're stuck in self-pity, you won't catch the signal of possibility. The frequencies don't overlap. You have to consciously choose which station to play. Tuning into the frequency you seek means embodying the feeling before the result shows up. If you want abundance, start feeling abundant even before the money arrives. If you want love, be loving even before the relationship begins. If you want peace, act peacefully in the midst of the storm. This is not pretending or faking. It's aligning. It's stepping into the emotional state of the life you are creating. Because once you vibrate on that level, you naturally attract things that match it. Your energy also decides who and what stays in your life. Have you noticed how people start drifting away when your energy shifts? Or how the right kind of papers start appearing when you finally stop settling? It's not coincidence, it's alignment. As you raise your frequency, everything that no longer resonates starts to fall away. That includes relationships, habits, jobs, even thoughts. It can feel lonely at first, but it's just the universe clearing space for what matches your new vibration. This is why healing is such a big part of manifestation. Because unhealed wounds carry low frequencies, shame, guilt, anger, resentment. And those frequencies attract more pain, more triggers, more emotional chaos. When you start healing, your energy softens. You stop reacting from a place of fear and start responding from a place of wisdom. You stop chasing validation and start choosing alignment. You stop trying to prove your worth and start radiating it without effort. Tuning into your desired frequency is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It's in how you talk to yourself in the morning, how you respond when things don't go your way, how you treat others when no one is watching. Your energy is shaped by your habits, your thoughts, your boundaries. The more intentional you become with those, the clearer your frequency becomes. And when your signal is clear, the path ahead becomes clearer too. Doors open that used to stay shut. People enter your life who once felt out of reach. Ideas land that you couldn't hear before. Not because the world changed, but because your energy did. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is a frequency, a magnetic force that draws in more of what you appreciate. Most people think of gratitude as something you express after receiving something, like saying thank you when someone gives you a gift. But in the law of attraction, gratitude is not the reaction. It is the ignition. It sets things into motion. When you start your day with a grateful heart, even before anything extraordinary has happened, you send out a signal that says, I already have enough, and that signal echoes back with more things for you to feel grateful for. In a world that constantly tells you to want more, chase more, hustle harder, gratitude is the radical act of saying, this is enough. I am enough. My life, even in its chaos, holds beauty. It doesn't mean you stop growing or dreaming. It means you stop ignoring the miracles that already surround you. It is so easy to take things for granted until they're gone. The roof over your head, the breath in your lungs, the people who still show up. Gratitude trains your mind to stop skipping past what's already working. It brings your attention back to now, and that presence opens doors that ambition alone cannot. Gratitude flips the lens. It turns problems into perspective. When you begin to appreciate what you have, even the struggles start to look different. Instead of saying, I'm tired of this job, you begin to say, this job is helping me survive while I build something better. Instead of I'm always alone, you start to say, I have space to heal and get to know myself. The situation hasn't changed, but the story you're telling has. And that shift in story creates a shift in energy. And energy always attracts its match. People underestimate how much gratitude rewires the brain. It teaches you to scan for the good. And what you look for, you start to find. That's why two people can go through the exact same day. One sees frustration and failure. The other sees growth and blessing. The only difference is where their eyes are focused. Gratitude changes the lens from lack to abundance, and that abundance becomes a magnet. You stop begging life to give you more, because you realize how much you already have. And the universe responds to that vibration. It's like when someone gives you something, and you light up with joy. Don't they want to give you more? It's the same with life. When you honor what you're given, even the smallest gifts, life wants to give you more. But when you dismiss what you have, when all you do is complain or compare, life pulls back. Because what you resist persists, and what you appreciate multiplies. Gratitude is also a powerful tool for healing. It doesn't erase pain, but it reminds you there's still life. It doesn't cancel loss, but it highlights what remains. Even in the middle of a storm, there's always something to hold on to. Maybe it's the lesson, Maybe it's the strength you didn't know you had. Maybe it's the hand of a friend who stayed when others left. When you start naming those things, your heart softens, your body relaxes, and your mind opens. That openness is where new possibilities sneak in. You don't need a perfect life to be grateful. You need gratefulness to see the perfection in your life as it is. The more you practice it, the more it becomes a habit. And when gratitude becomes your baseline, fear starts to lose its grip. You stop living in panic mode, always chasing the next thing, and instead live in a state of trust. And from that trust, everything flows better, relationships deepen, creativity sparks. Abundance arrives not because you begged for it, but because you became the kind of person who is ready to receive. Visualization is not just imagination, it is preparation. It is your mind rehearsing the life you are working to create. Every dream begins in the invisible before it becomes visible, and the clearer you can see it in your mind, the more naturally it begins to appear in your reality. Your brain does not fully distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. That is why visualization is so powerful. When you see yourself achieving something, feeling something, living something, you begin to move in alignment with it even before it arrives. So many people wait to believe until they see the evidence. They want to see the job offer before they feel successful, the relationship before they feel loved, the breakthrough before they feel hope. But the law of attraction works the other way around. You have to believe it before you see it. You have to feel it before you touch it. Visualization gives you access to that feeling now. It allows you to embody the emotion of your future so that your present starts to change in response to that frequency. When you start visualizing, something subtle shifts. You carry yourself differently. You speak with more certainty. You act with more clarity. You stop chasing everything and start attracting what already belongs to the version of you you're stepping into. That version of you, the one who already has what you desire, becomes your reference point. Instead of asking, "What should I do?" you start asking, "What would the best version of me do?" And that question changes your behavior, your discipline, your priorities. Visualization works best when it is specific and emotionally charged. It is not enough to just say, "I want a better life." You need to see what that life looks like. Where are you? What are you wearing? Who are you surrounded by? How does it feel to wake up in that reality? How does your body respond? What are you doing with your day? The more detailed you get, the more your brain begins to form new neural pathways that support those possibilities. Your subconscious begins to accept it as familiar, as possible, as something within reach. There is also a sense of calm that comes with visualization. Instead of walking through life, anxious and doubtful, you have a vision to return to. A quiet mental space where your future already exists. In moments of fear, you revisit it. In moments of uncertainty, you step into it. It becomes your compass when the outside world is chaotic. It reminds you of your direction, your why, your purpose. Even athletes use visualization before they perform. They don't just train their bodies, they train their minds. They see themselves crossing the finish line before the race begins. They feel the victory in their chest before it happens. That emotional rehearsal prepares them to respond with confidence and strength when the moment arrives. The same applies to life. When you visualize your success, your body begins to cooperate. Your actions begin to reflect it. You take risks that align with it. You say no to things that don't fit that image. You walk into rooms differently because you've already seen yourself there in your mind. Sometimes people resist visualization because they feel silly imagining things that haven't happened yet. But the truth is, you're already visualizing every day, you're just doing it unconsciously. When you worry, you are visualizing what could go wrong. When you doubt, you are rehearsing your failure. Visualization is simply taking back control. It's choosing to direct that power toward what could go right. It's not wishful thinking. It's training your mind to expect better. And when your mind expects better, your life starts reflecting that.